special 2/22/22 episode of Sports Hour. It's a little bit different this week. We don't have Sarah kicking things off with the NFL. The NFL season has concluded, so we got our boy Topher here to talk a little bit about, very little bit about the NBA and a lot about college basketball. So Topher, welcome to the show, man.
Hello. It's weird starting. Normally I close, so like it's a flip. Like when I was doing baseball, I like ended the show, so it's really weird to like start it. It's throwing me for a loop. But yes, no, very minimal amount of NBA, a lot of college basketball.
Yes, and if we could just get the NBA out of the way real quick, can we talk about the All-Star game plus the slam dunk contest? Like how stupid was that?
No, so the All-Star game was like, it was competitive, if you can call it that. Like, they won by 3. And like Steph Curry dropped 50. So like, okay, cool, whatever. The dunk contest was easily the worst one I have ever seen, probably since I've started watching it. Like, Aaron Gordon is rolling around in his dunk contest grave right now. Because, oh my God, it was embarrassing.
Some of the shoes that they were wearing for the dunk hunt, it was just laughable. I was sitting there just cracking up at half the stuff that was going on. I turned it off, turned on a movie. I was like, this is ridiculous.
It was awful. Every guy missed at least half their dunks. I have never seen a less successful one in terms of how many balls actually went in the basket.
Right. I have seen D1 basketball players, like these guys back here, that have made dunks every single time. These guys are like millionaires that are in the NBA, whatever, missing half of their shots. 50% of the dunks are actually going in. The shoes that they're wearing are, I don't even know.
They were jokes.
They were like looked like someone was wearing Ugg boots.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but you know, if I was out there doing it, I'd probably rep these Crocs that I'm wearing right now that you guys can't see. But
they are camo,
I might be able to actually make a slam dunk or two if I was a couple inches taller than.
I mean, yeah, our height for both of us is not helping us in any
Or
means.
if I was in the NBA, I should be able to
I mean,
dunk.
in theory, you would hope so, but it's all good. Yeah, I don't think me being 5'9" is helping anyone at this moment.
Yeah, I don't think that's helping us out.
I might be like, that might be giving myself an inch or two, to be fair. I'm probably like 5'8" if I'm not lying. So
yeah,
no shot. I can touch rim, but I can't dunk. That's for sure.
No, basketball. If I were to play, it would be point guard, and even that, I still get swatted and guarded every single day.
I'm passing the ball, and I am not taking a single shot inside the 3-point line, and I can't shoot a 3 to save my life. So
I would never see the floor. I would never see the floor. Never make the All-Star game. And that's that. But NBA, since we last been on, they really just been in their All-Star break. Yeah, we really haven't missed much. The standings are pretty much still the same.
It was like one game. Like it was Wednesday.
Literally one game.
I think so.
We really didn't miss much. But with the NCAA,
there was a lot.
There's a lot going on. And then currently, right now, there are 7 games from teams that are within the top 25 in the standings going on right now. Actually, one just ended. 17th ranked Tennessee just beat Missouri 80-61. That was pretty much expected. I mean, Tennessee's still going on the road, facing against a Missouri team that isn't ranked. You would have expected Tennessee to win that game anyway.
Yeah,
right?
like Missouri shouldn't be making the tournament at all. Like they won't be one of like the non-conference winners. So realistically, they probably won't be in it. So Tennessee, being a top 25 team, projected to be like a 4 or 5 seed if they keep it up what they're at, they should win these games.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, I hate to bring this up again.
Dude, it's back-to-back weeks.
But I mean, this is like our Colts moment. This is like our Astros moment right now with you. The 25th seed Iowa Hawkeyes beat the Michigan State Spartans 86-60.
I don't know what this Michigan State team is. Like, they were so good. They were literally a top 5 team in the beginning of the year.
They're the ultimate underdog right now.
Yeah, like I think too, like they're gonna be like a 10 seed if they keep going right now. Like if they play Purdue next. If they beat Purdue, they're going to solidify themselves, but they need to win one of these games to be like, yes, you're in, you're locked. But like at the moment, if they lose out, they're going to be on the bubble, which is embarrassing because they have literally been like a top 10 team the past 5 years.
Right.
And as a fan, it just hurts.
Well, if there's a time to get hot and you are a Michigan State fan, it has to be within the next couple of weeks. So then you can take that into the March Madness tournament as motivation if you're a Michigan State player or a Michigan State fan. But, I mean, losing by 26 to the 25th ranked team. I know that Michigan State's not ranked right now in the top 25, but I mean, you would have expected a way closer game.
Yeah, like the spread was 6 points. And I honestly would have been like, yeah, I think Michigan State can cover the spread.
Right.
Like genuinely would have bet on it if I like could. Like it was just like one of those things. And to get blown up by 26. Yes, they were away, but like it should have been like if they were gonna lose and not cover, it should have been 10. Like
Yeah.
they should have been like they should have at least looked like they were fighting, and they did not. It just looked ugly the entire game. I watched about 10 minutes of it before we came on my phone, and I just didn't want to watch the rest. It
Right.
was just embarrassing.
I mean, you have guys like Gabe Brown that had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, but no points.
He's so good too. Like this was, he just doesn't. He didn't look like he wanted to be out there. The entire team didn't look like they wanted to be out there. To be fair.
And then Joey Hauser, he only scored 2.
Yeah, like their number one scorers are just not doing it. They didn't do it today. They didn't do it against Illinois either. Was the last team they played and they lost against too. Like the past week, like against these Big Ten teams, they have not looked good.
Right.
And it's embarrassing because they literally beat teams who are not like projected top 4 seeds. Like I don't get it. It's just bad.
Yeah, they're just really inconsistent right now.
Yeah.
That's what I've been seeing, but there's still time for them to pick it up. I mean, they are 18-9.
Yeah.
They have double the amount of wins than they do losses. It's still, looking up for them. The 25th seed is 19-8, so they're not too far off. They're still in the tournament. They're still on the bubble. But when you flip the switch and you look at some of Iowa's stats here, Keegan Murray, 28 points.
Oh, he was disgusting tonight. In like a
only
good
on
way.
30 minutes of playing time.
Yeah, no, it was Iowa's. This was probably the best game I've seen Iowa play all year.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can use this one as motivation too. Maybe Iowa's a little bit better than we think
given
they
it, yeah.
are, and I honestly think they should be higher than 25 right now if they handle Michigan State like that. But going on to another game, the 18th seed Arkansas upset, or they didn't really upset. That would have been if Florida won. That would have been an upset. But they did beat unranked Florida 82-74. Similar to the Tennessee game, this was kind of expected out of this team.
See, this one was interesting because Florida literally beat Auburn, what was it, like 5 days ago?
Yeah.
So, like, you're like, oh, they could just make a run right now. And then they go and lose by 8.
And
So,
it's
like, not a great Arkansas. Like, Arkansas has good wins, but they're a top 25 team, but they're not the best SEC team. Like, there are other SEC teams who are doing better than them. Like, Kentucky and Auburn, both right there.
easily.
And, like, honestly, what else is there? Who else is there that's SEC? Actually, no, LSU's also there with them. Like, realistically, like, they're good. They're going to make the tourney, obviously. But it's
Right.
just like, I expected Florida to put up a little more of a fight after literally going in and being the number 2 team in the country at the time.
Yeah.
So,
Well, when you look at Arkansas, a lot of their wins were super close.
yeah.
But nonetheless, they're still 22-6. Florida's 17-11. They're not too far off. They're still in the tournament. But when you look at players like Arkansas, the players that really stand out are probably Jalen Williams scoring 15 points, Devontae Davis scoring 19 points. I mean, Arkansas has a good team, but like you said, they're not the best team in that conference.
No. Like, they're going to have to, if they want to make a push for, like, a higher seed, they're going to have to do really well in the conference tournaments, which the first one, I don't know which one it is. I know the first one starts on the 28th, so it'll be before we're back here next week, which is so exciting.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be. It's the team, because those are the early ones are the teams that, like, need to win the tournament in order to get in. Like, it's the winning in, like, situation. So, obviously, those are the ones you want to watch, because you're like, oh, wow, like, this team made it into the conference final, like, in one. So it's like, oh, maybe they're, like, that upset team. Like, obviously, you got, who was it? I don't even remember who Virginia lost to the one time they were the 1 seed. I couldn't tell you.
I don't remember either. But it's a win and in situation.
Yeah.
Those are the games that you love to see. Currently going on right now, the 9th seed Texas Tech Red Raiders are beating the Oklahoma Sooners 35-22 in the second half. This is surprisingly close. It could get pulled out towards the end by Texas Tech. It could be a little bit of a bigger margin here.
Yeah.
But 17.5 to go, 35-22. It's pretty close when you're Oklahoma going up against the top 10 team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when Oklahoma's not even projected to make it, like, at this point. Like, the way they look, they'd have to go on a run in order to make the tournament at this point. They're not a very good team.
They're a football school.
They really
that's
are.
how you look
they
at
haven't been a
Oklahoma.
basketball team since Buddy Hield was there, and he carried that team from the ashes.
Right.
So, like, realistically, they're not, like, I'm not expecting much from them. Like, if they keep it close, they keep it close. That's good for bettors, like, at this point. But, like, you're not expecting them to do much at this point. They're just trying to finish out the year with, like, a positive mindset. Like, Texas Tech's a very good team. I genuinely believe Texas Tech, if they stay healthy, can be in the Final Four. Like, I think they're a very much, like, just...
Dark horse, maybe?
Not even dark horse. I think people just, that aren't, like, experts, like, a lot of, like, everyday people are seeing, like, the top, like, what are going to be, like, the top, like, 8 teams, like the 1 and 2 seeds, and they're just writing off Texas Tech. When, like, the last time they were healthy and good, they made the Final Four. So, like, I think they're just a very underrated team at the moment.
Yeah, I think they're extremely underrated as well. They got a lot of decent prospects, a lot of guys that are definitely going to go in the NBA draft this year.
More than likely, yeah. Which is weird, because, like, you look at the roster, the last time they were this good, they didn't have NBA guys. They had one dude who was in the NBA, and he's not even in the league right now.
They just had heart.
They had heart, and they get points, which is weird when you don't have a guy that's evidently going into the NBA.
Right.
Like, they're averaging 119.3 right now, and and when they were in the Final Four last time, they were averaging like 119 point, like, not 100. God, I'm sorry. They were averaging like 89.6, and this year they're averaging 89.3, which is
still great, though.
Which are good NCAA numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. I would expect Texas Tech to, like you said, if everything goes to place with the Texas Tech Red Raiders, I think they can definitely go at least to the Elite Eight.
Oh,
possibly
I would
the Final
be very
Four.
surprised. I think they just need to stay healthy. I literally think that team just needs to, like, they lose one starting 5 guy and they're done. Like, you could say that about any school. I think it's especially true with Texas Tech because you've seen what happens when they stay healthy.
Absolutely. I mean, could they be front runners to go all the way? Who knows? Maybe they could, but you know, you never know. That's what makes March Madness so special, makes it so great. Currently, a game going on right now, and a current upset going on right now, even though it's only a 4-point game. 21 seed Connecticut is beating 8 seed Villanova 43-39 as we speak right now.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about that game is UConn's coach just got ejected. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I just got a message saying he got ejected from the game. I believe, according to the broadcast, you could hear a lot of the swearing he was saying.
Oh, boy.
So that's pretty interesting. And honestly, college coaches right now are kind of on another level.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny to watch.
No, we absolutely need to talk about the Wisconsin Badgers and Michigan Wolverines.
I love it.
Juwan Howard is getting fined $40,000.
Yeah, and he's suspended for the rest of the regular season. Did you see what happened? Like, I've tried to watch. I don't understand what the problem was.
So what happened was that Wisconsin was up by 15.
Yeah.
They took the ball in the zone. They wanted to run up the score with 15 seconds left, and they purposely called timeout just so they have enough time to run up the score.
Right, I mean,
he didn't like that. They're breaking the unwritten rule. You see this in baseball. It's like swinging 3-0 in baseball when you're already up by like 9. And then you hit a 450-foot home run, and then that's when you get beamed with the pitch, and then that's when, like, brawls start to happen. It's pretty much that's what happened with Michigan and Wisconsin. And now you're getting players fined $10,000. Coaches are fined $40,000. Organizations are fired. You have talking tos by the commissioner of the NCAA Division I. It's a whole mess. I was surprised to see a coach swinging punches and shoving players. That was the thing that kind of just threw me off.
Oh, I'm definitely surprised, like, a coach threw a punch. But also, like, dude, your Big Ten rivals, like, your schools hate each other. You have met in the tournament, and Wisconsin beat you when they had Frank Kaminsky.
Right.
The teams do not like each other. You should expect them to be just, honestly, just jerks and run up the score. Like, I mean, they're kids. Like, they want to, like, everyone wants to hit a shot. Like, at this point, like, I think obviously, he shouldn't do a punch, and he's allowed to be upset.
Yeah.
But he overreacted so much. Like, it's like, remember, like, the Harbaugh-Burrow thing when I'm like, you were division rivals in this, like, their conference. Like, you don't like each other. You're not supposed to like each other.
Right.
It is supposed to be embarrassment. Like, you want to prove you're the better school. And obviously they are. When Wisconsin's literally ranked, they're projected as a 3 seed, and Michigan is a 12 seed right now. So
Wisconsin's a much better team.
Absolutely.
But they are rivals. And I might sound kind of like suspect saying this on here, but I'm all for running up the score. I do it in video games all the time, and whenever I'm playing MLB The Show, I'm always swinging 3-0 with the bases loaded, even though I'm up by 6 or something. But my thing is, if you don't like it, then stop them.
Play defense.
If you can't stop them, then that's just too bad.
There's a difference when it's like, if they're not the same conference, and it's like when, like, Alabama does that, like, practice game. Like, if they do that and you run up the score, yeah, you're just a jerk. But, like, they're conference rivals. They're going to meet twice every year. Play better defense. You're a D1 school. You're a Big Ten school. You have the funds to recruit kids and get better coaches. Play better defense.
That's it.
I just don't. Yeah, like in
and
this,
if you can't,
there's a difference.
That's just too bad. You can't stop them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, no, I don't agree with that one. Like, there's a very big, like, I can understand running up the score in, like, a general sense is kind of like, eh. And when it's conference rivals, I do not care. Just literally play better. If it wasn't 15 seconds before and they did it, you wouldn't care. So just play better defense at that point. Stop them from putting the ball in the basket. That is literally the point of the game on defense.
Topher's case, if the Yankees were beating the Red Sox 8-0, they had the bases loaded in the 8th.
Oh, swing
would they
3-0.
not swing?
Swing 3-0. It does not matter.
And for me, if the Astros were up 8-0 against the Texas Rangers,
you swing.
Would they not swing 3-0 with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 8th? I mean, your rivals just rub it in their face. You don't like it? Well, that's just too bad. Stop them
just
next
be
time.
better teams. Yeah, no.
I really hope that we see those two teams in the tournament. Whether that's like the round of 32.
Was that the second time they played?
I think it was.
I think it's the last time they're playing this year. Yeah, I don't know.
But if they go in as the 3, they go in as the 12. I want all the chips to fall in the place where they have a chance to meet each other in the maybe in the 32 or the Sweet 16 or something like that.
Because
awesome.
he was suspended for regular season. Do conference championships count? Like, do conference tournaments count as postseason?
I think they judge seeding. I know that.
No, I just meant like for the sake of like him coming back and coaching.
Yeah.
So like conference tournament, they'll be back if they meet each other in the tournament. Like in the conference tournament.
I think so.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
And because it's only 5 games, right? He's only suspended 5 games.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you shouldn't have laid your hands on him.
Swinging though.
Seriously?
Swinging was wrong. Like, I don't care if you got the score run up on you. You don't swing, dude. Like, you're a D1 coach. You are setting a bad example for your players.
Why don't you like kick something down in the locker room or something?
Lose your mind.
That's a much better way to
absolutely.
But
this is why I love college basketball.
There's a lot of good things in store for college basketball, especially when we come on next week and cover some of the conference games, it's going to be great.
It'll be very exciting.
Topher, thanks for coming on. We're going to have Brent on in approximately 2 minutes to talk some Sabres hockey, so stay tuned.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. For selective service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. For selective service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you gotta register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Oh, hey everybody. Welcome back to Sports Hour.
A little distracted.
We got our boy Brent here, a little distracted, but we're here to talk some hockey.
We're here to talk some puck.
And you know, there's no better time to talk some Sabres hockey when you have the Sabres that are playing a beatable team tomorrow night in the Montreal Canadiens. Do you have any predictions on what could happen?
You know, based on the couple of last games and looking at what's been going on, I mean, we already know Montreal is not the greatest team in the league. You know, I think they're actually sitting pretty close to last place now. And with our couple last games, you know, lost one, dropped one to Ottawa, dropped one to Columbus, Colorado. But, you know, Montreal hasn't really, you know, being a Stanley Cup finalist team coming back into the season, they haven't done that much. And, I mean, the Sabres haven't done crazy numbers either, but I'm gonna say that we're gonna pull it out, even though we're in Canada. I think we're gonna pull it out, and I'm gonna say it's a 4-2 win.
And it was a place where Jeff Skinner scored his 4 goals.
Exactly. So we're going back there.
They played that in the Bell Center. They didn't play in the KeyBank Center, but going back to like literally 2 weeks ago, I can see Jeff Skinner having a night again, maybe scoring at least 2 goals, maybe 3. Mm-hmm. I would love to see 4 goals again out of Jeff Skinner in that same building. That would be fantastic. But I think if I had to predict a score for that one, I'd probably say 3-1 Buffalo. I'd say Skinner scored 2, maybe Thompson gets 1. And speaking of Tage Thompson, man, he's good. Like, I watched that Colorado game, and they lost 5-3, by the way. It was a bad loss because they gave up 5 goals, but at the same time,
he scored.
Tage Thompson scored all the goals. He
Yeah,
scored a natural
a
hat trick,
hat-trick.
right? So, he's great. He's great. Even despite the loss, he's definitely going to be a big part of this future, I think.
Oh, 100%. And he's still, actually not still, because last week when we were here, Skinner was in the lead on the team with points, but now Thompson's back on top. And with stats, we have Dahlin sitting 3rd, which I don't know how you feel about that, Trev, but me personally, I don't know if that's really the best look for the Sabres, having a defenseman 3rd on the team in points. It's really good for Dahlin.
Great for him.
Great for him.
But you would expect an offensive weapon like a forward, maybe like an Olofsson or a Middlestat. Middlestat has been plagued with injuries, and we can say all we want about what we think about the Sabres medical staff and if they're actually like trained doctors and they're actual PhDs.
Yeah,
we don't really
knows?
know. But Middlestat is snake bitten this year with injuries, injury plagued. We could possibly use him as trade bait. That'd be interesting to see. But if you look at a guy like Victor Olofsson, this is a guy that should be scoring 5-on-5. He used to be a guy that could only score on the power play, and now he's not even scoring on the power play.
Yeah.
Like, all of his goals are off. He scored 2 goals against, who was it? Was it a couple weeks ago he scored a couple goals?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago he did.
And other than that, I think one of them was an empty net goal, by the way. But I think that was against the Islanders.
He's in a little drought right now. Yeah, I think it was against that 6-3 win. But he's in a little drought right now, and he's actually on his last year with his 2-year contract. So it is going to be super interesting to see what our GM does with that, and if we end up trading him, I don't know where he'll go. But he is a good player. We had him. We were all excited for when he came here, and first season he was doing okay. And then he kind of just hit a little dry spout. And now it's kind of like, do we need him? Is he necessary? Who knows? But maybe they'll sign him to another year contract or something, maybe to see if he can prove that he actually belongs and wants to, show improvement. That's the only way I could see him, staying. But we are the Sabres and make some dumb decisions sometimes. So
understatement of the year.
Yeah,
but at the same time, we could do that. We could also trade for him or trade him away at the deadline in March when that happens, or late February, whenever that happens. But like Victor Olofsson, like you said, he's going to be a free agent. I don't know if he's going to be restricted or if he's going to be a UFA. But I know that he is going to be a free agent. Why not try to trade him for at least draft capital?
Yeah, and remember last week me and you were talking about, we always say it's a rebuild stage, but now we feel like this actually is the rebuild stage. So if you want to start, well, technically we already did start with adding Tuck and Krebs, but if you want to keep adding to that, like, we gotta look at what we've done. We got rid of Eichel. He was our captain.
Best player.
We have to make those the best decision is always the hardest decision. And sometimes we just have to make those decisions. So Olofsson, he could be gone next year. He could be there. Who really knows? But yeah, I agree. I think we should end up trading him away and try and get, maybe even like a high draft pick or just someone like maybe just a better player than Olofsson. Who knows? I hate to say that because I really like Olofsson, but yeah, he hasn't really been doing that much. So it's really up in the air at this point, I guess.
Well, at the same time, like, there are some names that pop up with the Sabres that may not be part of the future that you can trade in the next 1 to 2 years, like a Poso, Rasmus Asplund. You can probably try to trade away guys like Victor Olofsson, maybe a Mark Pezic too. I think he's one of our best defensemen on the team as far as, like, not goal-scoring ability, but physicality and defensive play. Mark Pezic is good. Maybe he can be expendable or something like that. Owen Power is expected to come up next year from NCAA, which is going to be cool. I think the future is within the next 1 to 2 years, and this is when the window of playoffs starts to open, finally. We're finally starting to see this light at the end of the tunnel, but this season pretty much like a wash. We lost 7-3 to Columbus with their 4th-string goalie. That should be the nail in the coffin that this season's over. But when you look at names like Isaac Rosen that we drafted in the first round last year, and Owen Power, and guys like J.J. Peterka and Alex Tuck and Peyton Krebs, that is our future right there. And
Oh, yeah.
Devin Levi, who's playing for Northeastern right now, and
He's actually one of the top players in the whole NCAA right now.
leads in shutouts.
Yeah.
And has one of the
so-
highest save percentages with like a 9.58, I believe, or a 9.85, something like that.
And
But
we're also getting Portillo.
Portillo from Michigan
So-
or Michigan State, he's looking really well. But at the same time, like, you named off all those players. Now it's up for the Sabres management to not mess it up like they did when they brought in Eichel, when they brought in Kane. That was a pretty decent team on paper. Eichel,
was.
Kane, O'Reilly, and McCabe was when he was first coming up. He was pretty good. And guys like Jamie McGinn, Brian Giunta. That was a pretty good team on paper, but the coaches just weren't there. Dan Bilesma was horrendous. Phil Housley was awful. Ralph Kruger was
Horrible.
probably the worst coach in NHL history.
This is probably the first good coach we've had since
Lindy.
Lindy. Yeah.
But Don Granato's showing something that these past coaches haven't ever shown, and that's fire. It's great to see fire from your head coach. Like, Dan Bilesma would use excuses in post-game press conferences.
all the time.
And we were sick and tired of that. Ralph Kruger would always talk about, like, principles and cliches that nobody would understand. We finally have a guy that's aggressive and a guy that actually cares. And that's what I like. That's what I like about the Sabres, and that's what I like about their coaching staff. Just, it's up to the GM to make the right moves at the deadline, to not rush your players from Rochester into Buffalo, and to just let this rebuild play out.
Yep.
Because if everything goes right, this team is stacked. I named like 6 or 7 prospects that are going to turn this team into a playoff caliber team once they get some NHL, once they get exposed to the NHL.
Yeah, get adjusted. And I mean, even like we could, with all those players coming up, we might even send Middlestat back down to the minors because he's been dealing with a whole bunch of injuries. I don't even know what's going on with him at this point. I'm not even gonna lie. There was a lower body injury, then now there's an upper body injury. I don't know. He's played 7 games this year with us. He has 2 points. I mean, I don't know. He hasn't really been his name hasn't been up that often, so I feel like sending him to the minors, and when we get Owen Power and Portillo and Tuck and Krebs are fully connected with the team, as in like chemistry with the players and stuff.
Right.
I think it'll be a really solid team. And I mean, let's just speak on the last couple games. We honestly haven't even it's so weird because we really don't play that horrible, Like it's not that bad of a game that we play.
They can score 3 or 4 goals a
we
night.
can score, and the shots. You look at the shots for the games, we get outshot by I don't know 6, 7. It's not even that much. Against Colorado, we lost 5-3. Sikorsky had 26 saves out of 30 shots. And then against the Blue Jackets, Anderson had 25 saves out of 31 shots. But then you look and it's 5 goals and 7 goals. And it's you can't be letting that many goals in on 30 shots, because we're putting up the same amount and we're only scoring 3 or 4. So it's
Right. Well, I just for fun, I looked up the average goals that every team has scored this year. Each team is roughly scoring, middle of the pack to the playoff caliber teams are scoring 3 to 5 goals a night. The Sabres have, over the last few games, have been scoring 3 or 4 goals a night. If they had goaltending that was at NHL level, they could at least get an overtime point, because all those points will start to add up, and then you can clinch a playoff spot. And then once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. Literally ask the St. Louis Blues a few years ago,
when they got O'Reilly,
who were favored to lose in the first round, in a sweep. Look at Tampa Bay, the first seed, who got 126 points, got swept by the second wild card team in the Columbus Blue Jackets. Anything can happen when you make the playoffs. The Sabres are scoring goals. That's important. I think the biggest thorn in their side is goaltending right now. And the Sabres just don't have NHL level goal. I mean, they have a 40-year-old goalie in Craig Anderson, and then Tokarski, and then you have a couple other AHLers, and then Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. We had Aaron Dell for a long time.
Oh my!
Once
Brutal.
the names like Portillo and Levi come up, the goaltending is going to be great. It's going to be Ryan Miller type goaltending you can expect.
That's what. Yeah, I forgot who I said that to the other day, but yeah, I said literally the same exact thing. I think Portillo or even Levi, I think one of them will be the next Buffalo Ryan Miller. Because, I mean, that's a really high standard to meet, especially for the Sabres and the city of Buffalo, because Ryan Miller was our franchise goalie. But, you know, they definitely have the skill, and they definitely have the right mindset to, you know, be the best, you know, probably one of the best couple goalies the Sabres have ever had.
Yeah, and whoever's the better goalie, I mean, they can still play. One goalie plays 52 games, the other goalie plays 30. And then, or whoever's the better goalie statistically can get the starting job, and whoever's a little bit worse can back him up. Like, this goalie tandem will be great. And then with that, what are you going to do with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen? What are you going to do with UPL? You could trade him.
Exactly.
You can trade him for other assets. You can trade him for draft capital. You can trade him for veteran players that will help out your young guys coming to the league, because I think the perfect mix of a dynasty-like team that we saw with like Chicago and Pittsburgh like 10, 15 years ago was you draft these great rookies or great projected rookies, and then you mix them up with young veterans, maybe like high 20s, early 30s that have had plenty of experience in the NHL. When they gel together, I think that's a recipe of a great team right there. The Sabres have that with guys like Oposo, but you know, guys like Crosby, whenever a rookie comes to Pittsburgh, Sidney Crosby's that ultimate mentor guy.
Oh, yeah,
When
100%.
someone gets drafted in Washington, you better believe it's Alex Ovechkin. And for Chicago, it's Patrick Kane. And then I could go on and on and on. But the Sabres need that veteran guy. And if that's from a trade, or maybe, you know, they call someone up from the AHL, then they work these other rookies in later. I think the sky is the limit, to be a little bit cliche with that, but I think the sky is kind of the limit with the Sabres in the future. And all we can do is wait at this point. It's going to be 11 years since playoffs, but I think with these players right here, and if we do make a lot of decent trades at the deadline,
we're going to see it pretty soon.
We're going to see it within those 1 to 2 years.
Yep, exactly. And, you know, drifting away from the Sabres a little bit, because, you know, it is a little tough to talk about.
We have beaten that horse to death.
Yeah, we've beaten it so much. I mean, Eichel scoring his first goal for the Knights.
You love to see it if you're a Jack fan.
You do love to see it. I mean, I am an Eichel fan, but at the same time, like during that time with all the doctor stuff and him not putting out his, you know, medical forms and stuff, I just thought it was all weird. And the thing that really honestly made me like kind of be like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about him, is when he did get traded and all he posted on Instagram was a picture of him in the Vegas uniform saying Vegas, baby. Not even thanking the fans.
I think he was just fed up with the Fagulas.
Yeah, most likely,
so.
probably.
I mean, they don't know how to run a hockey. They know how to run a football team.
They know how to run a lacrosse team.
They know how to run a lacrosse team. But as far as a hockey team is concerned, no. And I think the whole story with Eichel was like, they're not going to let him get this surgery. He's like, okay, whatever. That's a straw that broke the camel's back.
And then he goes to Vegas and gets the surgery he wanted and already is back playing within 3 months.
That's all it took. And he scored his first goal against the San Jose Sharks. He got his first point against the Kings on a Max Pacioretty goal. That was, I mean, Eichel's already producing points, and he's been out of action for almost a full year. So it's great to see him. If you're an Eichel fan, it's going to be awesome to see him come back to Buffalo March 10th. That's going to be a good game.
Insane.
But you know, you put Eichel on a contender, I'm happy for him, because you can tell that he was really like, being on the Sabres was mentally daunting on him, and the fact that now he's on a contender. They're in second in the Pacific Division. They're looking good. Same thing with Sam Reinhart too.
Oh yeah.
Like he put the team on his back last year when Eichel went down and Taylor Hall wasn't producing.
And now look at him. He goes to Florida.
Now he's on the best team in the Atlantic Division. So hard work does pay off if we're going to learn anything from this.
And the standings, I mean, even from when we talked last week, it's still the strong five. But now there's a serious battle between the top three. You're seeing Colorado at the top. You see Florida underneath, Carolina underneath them, and it goes 76, 75, 74. And when we talked last week, Colorado had first. Florida won a game against, I forgot who it was. It might have been Ottawa or someone, I forgot, or Boston. Yeah, they took the number one spot. Then Colorado beats us, and then they beat the Bruins, so now they're back in. It's crazy to see what's going on within the top five of the league still. And to see all these teams just really battling hard, I'm so ready to see what happens.
It's like you see what happens when you successfully rebuild a team, like the three teams that you just named, if you told me that in 2014, I would have laughed so hard. Like, Avalanche were terrible, and the Panthers were awful. The Hurricanes were selling like 2,000 seats a night, and now they're a good team and they're making the playoffs every single year. That's what happens when you successfully rebuild a team. Something that the Sabres really couldn't get over the hump about. Like, you see all these other teams doing it. Toronto, to an extent, they can't get past the first round, but they're consistently going to the playoffs. Then you see the dynasties like the Penguins and the Kings and the Blackhawks, who were all really bad at one point, turned it around in a couple years. But, you know, we're expecting, hopefully, good things for our Sabres. We're not really expecting much yet. But, yeah, Brent, thanks for coming on. We're going to have the racing expert Fuller coming on to talk some F1, so stay tuned.
Ready for you?
Pneumococcal. If you're 65 or older, like me, you're at greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia, even if you're healthy. People 65 plus are over 10 times more likely to land in the hospital for pneumococcal pneumonia than those 18 to 49. And it's important we all do what we can to stay healthy. So, talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination.
Hope, where are you hiding? I search for you in the seconds, the minutes of each and every day. Hear me as I call out to you. Take my hand. Lift me up as I lift up others. Welcome me home, Father, Mother, Sister, brother, son, daughter. Hear us now. Alone we stood, divided we fell. No longer. Now we choose to make the connection. Our new mission lies within. Visit maketheconnection.net to learn more.
16 is such a significant age. I promise to help protect my eldest daughter during this exciting time in her life. Teens are at an increased risk for meningococcal disease, a rare, potentially deadly bacterial infection. But half haven't received the CDC-recommended second dose of the MenACWY vaccine at 16. I want to help change that. Take your shot against meningitis. Talk to your teen's doctor about the MenACWY vaccine and ask about MenB. Visit the16vaccine.org.
Happy to have the racing nerd, Nicholas Fuller.
Happy to be here. The best segment of Sports Hour right here. Am I right or am I right?
You are absolutely right. And today we got something special, right? Right, Fuller?
Oh, yes.
What are we going to be doing today for the fans here?
This is a nice and simple one, very digestible for everybody. Every single team, bar one, has released their new paint job for the year. So we're going to be going through. I've already ranked them. I've put my score already on the screen. And I'm going to be displaying them to Trev, and we will then be, he'll give his score, and I'll reveal what I think about it.
And we're doing 1 through 10.
1 through 10. Well, I've done this in alphabetical order. I've not ranked them in the way that I think, just purely random. So without further ado, are you ready to get into this?
I'm ready.
So this is the one team that has not released their livery quite yet. This is Alfa Romeo's last year car. But I just real quick wanted to show what their testing livery, which is today is the first day of testing in Spain. So Catalonia, they ran this, which is a sick camo livery. It's never going to see the light of day, but as a livery, really cool. But moving on to the first team to actually rank, we've got last year's AlphaTauri. This was last year's. So before we go into this, I really liked this car last year. Super solid B team starring Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda, a really fun young driver lineup that has a lot of potential. And this year, they did this, which beautiful, like little just reverse card switch, nice little design. What do you think, Trev?
Not gonna lie, I kind of like the ones from last year a little bit better, but it does look nice. So if I were to rate it 1 out of 10, if we can get this whole thing in the shot here, yeah, we got different angles of that. That actually looks nice. That angle looks much better. Mm-hmm. But
the side view doesn't do it justice.
Are we gonna do like Barstool Sports?
Barstool, I already rated him Barstool Sports.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna give this one a 6.8.
I gave
out
this
of 10.
one 7.8.
Okay.
I liked this one. There's not a lot of bad liveries in Formula One. But moving on, this was last year's Alpine, which was one of my favorites. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. Fernando Alonso, 2 times world champion piloting it. And this is what they made this year.
You know what? I liked the red a lot better.
Yeah,
I like the red. Hey, you know what?
I'll be honest, I have mixed feelings about this one. I want to hear your opinion about it, but I could trash this car. I'm not
Wait a
gonna
minute.
lie.
Go back to the first one for a second.
This one or the one before?
That one.
This one. So this is 2021's car.
This one is a lot better. I don't care what any of you guys say.
No, 100%. The title sponsor, BWT, came from Aston Martin. It requires pink, and it's ruined delivery, in my opinion.
Yeah, it just doesn't look intimidating. Like, if you're racing behind me and I see that you have a car like this, like, I'll just do whatever I can to block you because I know that you're not going to pass me. So I'm going to give this one a 5.1.
I gave it a 4.4. So they do have a special livery they also announced, which is this. It is a flip livery, most of the BWT pink sponsor. I like this one a lot more personally. What do you think? Quick initial thought.
You know what? I like this one better. I think the more pink look over the blue, it looks more natural in a way.
And this doesn't really bother me at all. This is like the Alpine section on the front nose, and it's really solid. It's just black. It fits well. The blue all the way over there looks real solid.
This one has like no spoiler on the back of the car though.
Yeah, the wing has been drastically reduced this year. But what do you give this one real quick?
This one's a lot better, I will say. I still like the 2021 model better. I'm gonna give this one a 7.4 out of 10.
I give this one a 6.3. I think that's fair. I
It's
understand the 7.4. It's a good looking car. So this is last year's Aston Martin. They were who had BWT before. You see it on the pink on the stripes. Very tastefully done. This is their car this year. This one's a solid. This is a good. The yellow, the classic British racing green. You can't go wrong.
I love this. Definitely love the color scheme. I love the adjustments that they made with the wing in the back. It just looks more aerodynamic.
The bright yellow Aston Martin right here.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, down there.
And then the stripes. It's beautiful.
This one's gonna be probably the highest score so far. I'm gonna give it an 8.4.
I give it an 8.2. So I can't fault you there. We're very close on that one.
Very,
that one's
very
beautiful.
close. We will get one eventually, hopefully.
This is Haas. This is last year's car, and you know what? They said if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, obviously not much change there.
It's Nikita Mazepin's, his daddy bought the team basically. They're a Russian company, Euroclide, title sponsor. They actually almost had to change it because the Olympic regulations for the doping scandal meant that they can't race underneath the Russian flag. But they let this one slide because it's a race car, not a flag.
But you know what? Like you said before, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it was already great from the start. It was great in 2021. It looks great in 2022. I'm going to give this one an 8.1.
I give it a 4.9. I hate this livery. I'll be honest. The only reason I like this team is because of Mick Schumacher, who you all know the Schumacher name. One of the best drivers of all time. His son races. This is his car. It's 47. Awesome number tribute because Michael Schumacher's number was 7. And so it's kind of seen as 4-7. Really cool, but other than that, I have no interest in this team. They're the only American team, and they show. Although Andretti has been confirmed to potentially be coming into the F1 world. So that could be a very interesting development coming a few years, because Haas and Andretti.
And that's Marco
NASCAR.
Andretti, right?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, it's good. That'll be awesome. That'll be awesome to see.
All right, moving on though. The next one, this is Ferrari last year. It's hard for a Ferrari to be wrong. This one was wrong. That green's disgusting last year. But they got it really right this year.
No, this one obviously is much better.
I think shape-wise, this is my favorite car. This section right here on the side pod is absolutely beautiful. I have another shot of it once we rate the car. But
And obviously the placement of the sponsors are perfect.
oh, Shell
One's
is
down
awesome.
here, Shell. You have the Ferrari up there.
You've got Ray-Ban up here. Oh yeah.
But you know what? This one does look a lot better than last year's. I like the color. Did the color get a little bit darker
Yes,
last year?
it did, and I love that.
It fits it better. I like the little decals on the wheels here. But you know what? I'm going to say that this is the best one. I'm going to give it an 8.9.
So this is the only one I didn't give a Barstool rating because it's Ferrari. It's the same car every year. I gave it a straight 9. We basically had the same thought.
Had the same one.
It's just
he
I
didn't go
broke
the
the rule
Barstool
for this
route.
one car because it always is bright red. There's no surprises about a Ferrari livery. So I gave it a straight 9.
No, I love the dark red look. It's so much better.
But, I mean, just looking at the side pod, oh, that's a sexy-ass shot right there. All I'm saying is those vents, the airflow coming over this, it's going to be the piece de la resistance.
Ferrari always nails it.
Yes. Now, my favorite team, McLaren, this was their last year's car. Super solid car. Not my favorite livery from them, the papaya, but this is this year.
Okay, so I do love a good orange, which is great.
I love that teal.
I love the light blue. That is awesome
I wish
as well.
it was used better, but the color is fantastic.
Oh,
Especially
absolutely.
here, that's going to look great once it's spinning.
And on the front of the car, too. They got that little blue area there. But you also have the DeWalt sponsor right in a perfect spot. Nothing out of the ordinary here. I do like it a little bit less than the Ferrari one. I'm going to give this one probably an 8.4. Let's go 8.4 on that.
I thought you were going to nail it. I give it an 8.8. You said a little less than Ferrari. We got to speed this up a little bit. This was Merc last year, all black. They went back to their classic silver arrow look, the name that got them the titles in the 50s. Historic team. What do you think of this one, Trev?
Silver, it's chrome, and it's clean. This one looks great. I'll give it the score that you had on the last one. I'll give this one an 8.8.
I gave it a 7.6. I like this one. I like the return to
I
silver.
mean, it's a classic.
There's nothing wrong with this. I can't fault it. It's a solid 7s at least. All right. Red Bull last year, they took the Haas strategy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They've lost their sponsor Honda, and they've had to put Oracle up here. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. What do you give this one, real quick?
Not gonna lie, I like the 2021 model a lot better. I'm gonna give this one a 6.7.
You give it a 7.8. I think this one's. I honestly would have given this one a lower one thinking about this one. I would have given it a 7.2 thinking about this now. I think you're right. It is. The flow.
I mean, 2021.
So
Some of these have
last,
nailed it. Some of them
but
haven't.
not
Yeah.
least, we are on the last livery. This is Williams 2021. I thought it was okay. The blue was a little weird and the yellow, but
There is
it's
a lot
fine.
of blue there. It's a lot of blue.
Here's their 2022. Oh, I forgot to animate that one. Oh, damn. But
Well, I really wasn't a fan of the one before that. It's kind of mad now. I'll be nice and give it a 7.1. Why not?
all right. Thank you, Trevor, for rating some liveries with me. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for informing the fans and showing them the beautiful and non-beautiful cars that are in the sport of Formula One
the
racing.
sexy cars
Yes.
of Formula One.
The hot cars, the Hot Wheels over here. But you know what? It's always a pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. We're going to have Sarah come on to talk some Winter Olympic Games when we return.
Always remember, never drink yellow snow.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. For selective service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. For selective service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, selective service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time, just sign on the line at the post office. Selective service. We've been down there. Post office. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. For selective service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. For selective service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Services list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time, just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Happy to have Sarah on to talk not about the NFL. You're rocking the Josh Allen jersey, though. But this is the first time in a long time. We're not talking about football in this segment, but we are talking some Winter Olympics and pretty much the wrap-up of the Winter Olympics. Sarah, were there any gold medal games that, I mean, I thought USA was going to take it all the way and catch them in the #1 seed for medals, but were there any like major events that stuck out to you towards the end?
I mean, we might as well start with that one, the women's ice hockey.
I don't want to talk about it.
I really don't want to talk about it either, but you know, it was a huge event. So the girls, they took it home. Canada went up 3-0 before the U.S. actually got some goals in there. And then they came back, they got 1 goal in the second period, and the second goal, the final score ended up being 3-2. Canada takes the gold, U.S. silver, but the U.S. got the second goal in the third period, and they looked like they were about to come back, as you said, or at least tie it and go into overtime, but unfortunately, they were just like this close.
What is it with USA Hockey and us getting so close, but we can never seal a deal. We can never win.
We did it like one time. The Canada has won 5 gold medals in the Olympics, and as far as women's hockey goes.
Well, at least it was better than Sochi in 2014, where I think the men's and the women's team, they lost in this gold medal game to Canada. Surprise, surprise. But the men's team didn't even get a medal that year.
Right.
At least, like, what I was really looking forward to seeing was NHLers in there. I wanted to see NHL players, and then they pulled the plug on that like a month before the Olympics, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like 2010 when it was in Vancouver, and you saw like Patrick Kane for Team USA, Crosby for Team Canada, like that was awesome. But at the same time, the United States, they really did show up towards the middle of the games and towards the end as well. I was really proud of them because literally 2 weeks ago when we came on here, the United States had like 3 bronze medals and a silver.
Yeah.
And then they had 7 the week after. I'm very proud of where they finished.
I totally agree with you, Trevor. They really pulled out all the stops towards the end there. There's so many amazing just moments. I mean, win or loss, I mean, we have Shaun White's retiring. Obviously, he ended up in 4th, which is, sad for his last Olympics, but, it was such a great moment.
To see, like, the whole final send-off of the greatest snowboarder to ever live as of right now.
Absolutely.
But we really did show up in freestyle skiing, at least, which we were heavily... I mean USA. I was not out there skiing, but as in an American rooting for Team USA, they were heavily favoring European countries there, and rightfully so because they train pretty much all year long. But they really did show up this entire Winter Games.
Yeah, I agree. And the men's free ski slope style.
That was what I meant to say, not freestyle skiing.
Yeah, there's so many iterations of it. It's
free ski slope style.
They like to change up the words all the time, and I'm like, just like you could come up with so many different names, but I guess not. But so anyway, but Alex Hall came in. He basically defied physics. And came in with the gold for the Team US in that event, and then Nick Gepper also got the silver. I was actually watching part of that, and there is four men who qualified for the finals for Team USA in that event, and all 4 of them could have taken the gold. They were
I agree.
They were amazing, and just the amount of tricks that these guys were able to do is just your jaw drops when you watch it.
And you literally said defies physics. I think defies gravity because he's orbiting into space sometimes how high they get, and especially. The half pipe. The USA got a silver on the skiing half pipe, something that they were also heavily not favored to win. And they were surprised to even make the top 5 in those standings, but that was David Wise getting silver. I think that feels like a gold medal because just the odds were totally against him. And you look at other countries like maybe the Republic or the whatever they're called with Russia, the Olympic Committee of Russia, and Canada, who are also very good at skiing as well. The fact that USA got top 2, that's extremely impressive as well.
Right, absolutely. And like and we touched about a couple of new events that came about this Olympics too, and the US came on top of those, which is so cool to see, especially all the new events and just having USA take the gold for that. It's just so awesome to see. And that was the mixed team aerial skiing. There's so many iterations of skiing and snowboarding right now. It's a lot of fun to watch.
But like what I was impressed with the most just watching the Olympics was like when you're watching like downhill skiing or ski jump in general, like how fast they're going and how high they soar through the air and just how calm, cool, and collected they are. How controlled they are. Like, yeah, I'm just casually 35 feet in the air, no big deal. And then they're just standing there like this.
Right.
Like they're up 5 feet in the air and it's nothing. Believe me, I've snowboarded before and I've tried the half pipe before. It's not easy at all. And I was pretty much freaking out when I got like 2 feet off the ground.
Right.
Going like 35 is ridiculous.
Yeah, and you think about how many times they do that. Not even, you have like how many, like 3 jumps, I think, in the event.
Yeah.
But think of how many times you practice before, in the years leading up to your Olympics debut, and just like how many times they do that. It's incredible just to see what these people are. They're, like you said, defying gravity. They're just so fun to watch.
It almost just doesn't look human.
It really doesn't. It's like they got some superpowers and they can just fly around like whatever they want.
And also sticking on the topic of like skiing and snowboarding, I don't know if we mentioned this last show, but Chloe Kim taking home another gold in the women's snowboarding halfpipe. Once again, I think the United States produces the best snowboard content ever. You have Shaun White for men's and Chloe Kim for women's. And Chloe Kim is still young. I think she debuted in 2018, won the gold, comes back in 2022, wins another gold. She's looking like another Shaun White. Shaun White, 2006, wins his first gold. 2010 wins his second gold. Had a rough 2014, but then came back in 2018, breaking world records and breaking Olympic records. And then obviously his final send-off. But Chloe Kim is definitely something else to watch as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's only 22, I believe. So, like you said, I was exactly going to say what you said and say she probably is going to end up being another Shaun White and come to hopefully like 5 Olympics like he did. And she's clearly got the talent. She is incredible to watch. And I was loving watching all the females in this Olympics. They were really showing up. And as far as, I don't know if we really touched on it, bobsled too.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Callie Humphreys.
Yeah.
I didn't know that mono bobsled was a thing. Like, I didn't know that was a new thing, because I've always seen like 4 people push the bobsled and then they all just jump in at the same time. And it looks crazy. But, I mean, how is bobsled like not like a world-known sport?
Yeah,
it is
so crazy.
Some of the craziest stuff ever. She's pushing it by herself, literally going super fast. I don't even know how fast they're going, but if she got the gold, she must have pushed that thing so hard and jumped in at the right time and just soared past the finish line. But bobsled is just so fun to watch. It's like, I actually sat down, watched it for the first time. I'm like, I missed out on a whole bunch. Like from 2018, 14, 2010. Like, I didn't understand how much this sport is respected in the world of the Olympics.
Right, it's such an underrated event for sure. And like, it's just, they get up to speeds, like, I don't know how fast they push it, but they get up to speeds like close to 100 miles per hour.
And it's on ice.
It's on ice. It's so dangerous, and it's sad when you see all these like crashes and stuff. It's like crazy.
It's scary.
But it is really scary. But then like you get these studs like Callie Humphreys, and it was cool reading about her. This was her 3rd Olympics, but it was her first time for Team USA. She was actually on Team Canada the 2 years before, but this was her first gold for USA. So that was just so fun to watch.
Yeah, you see what happens when you come to the United States.
United States.
You win.
Unless it's women's hockey.
Unless it's hockey.
Unless it's hockey.
Or it's something else of that nature. But
well, you'll get there.
I mean, men's slopestyle skiing as well. Alex Hall. Like, okay, we dominate these snow sports. Skiing, snowboarding, half pipe, it does not matter. And it's sad to see that it's over, but it'll be back up in 4 more years, hopefully, if COVID's still not a thing by then. I hope not. But Sarah, thanks for coming on, and thank you for watching this latest installment of Sports Hour live from Hendricks Hall. We'll see you same time, same place next week. And come back stronger than ever. We'll see you next week.